Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel with myself, Isabella. Thank you so much for joining me here today. If you're new here, click that subscribe button so you never miss another video. I'm here to help you build your self-esteem, feel confident, and also let's just learn stuff about ballet, watching amazing ballerinas, analysing them. If you don't know me, my name's Isabella. I'm a British graduate of the Vaganova Ballet Academy. I then went on to dance with the Mikhailovsky Ballet and IFM Ballet, and now I'm the founder of BWI, which is an online platform with a bunch of classes, courses for all levels, filmed beautifully to a really high standard to help you improve in your ballet, whatever level you are, so that when you go back to the studio, you'll feel confident about what you're doing and you are basically, you feel like you have someone looking after you. And I'm here to be your virtual coach, and we also have a bunch of live classes with me as well, along with other trainers weekly, so there is a real all-round relationship and community. So do check it out. You get 2 weeks trial, so click the link in my bio. So guys, today we're talking about something which I think a lot of people struggle with, which is learning combinations in class. It may be also like a variation, and picking the exercises up quickly. There's one thing we definitely shouldn't be doing, okay, and we'll get to that in a moment. But do you struggle with picking up exercises? Because some of the things here I think will massively help you. First of all, let's talk about how your friends pick up exercises. Notice if your friends pick them up in a different way in class. Like for example, when I'm in ballet class, as I'm watching the combination, and I pick up in a very specific way, but also it's quite non-specific. But some people, for example, use their hands. So, you know, when we're looking at the combination, some people are going like, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and like doing this. So kind of marking it with their entire body. So essentially they're using image and kind of, they're memorizing it with their hands, therefore internalizing what it is they have to then do with their legs. Some people even say it out loud. Like when I'm next to people, which is kind of funny. When I'm next to people, they'll be going like repeating the teacher as they're doing it, saying stuff like
2 tendus and change and 3 tendus and plie stretch and 1 and 2.
Not only saying out loud what's required, like the steps, such as 2 tendus, 2 jetés, but also almost saying it within the rhythm. So they're also memorizing the rhythm. But I still think these two can lead to failure, but it does work for some people. And these people who are doing those two things may be doing the thing I think we should all be doing as well, which we'll get to that. It'll all make sense soon. So, is there a best way to do it? Or is there a way we can find out what is the best way for us? Let's first talk about what not to do. You may notice, and a lot of my students who've come to me, I notice them doing this, that in schools they often ask their students to mark the whole thing in front of them whilst the teacher's demoing the exercise, which I think doesn't help really at all. And I often find the student forgets the exercise if they end up doing the whole thing in front of me, because essentially they're just copying the teacher. They're not really thinking about what it is the exercise actually is. You know, they're copying the teacher, they're thinking about looking nice as they're doing the step, but they're not really processing the whole exercise as a whole. So it's no surprise that, you know, if the teacher's marked it and they've done the whole thing full out in front of them, just doing step by step, that they then forget and then get told off. Marking the whole exercise is focusing on doing rather than actually processing. Now, how I process exercises is both in chunks and sections, and also with rhythm. Now, let me explain why this works. When we look at a simple tendu or jeté exercise, it's usually 4 sets of 8 and a coda. 4 sets of 8 counts and a coda / balance. If you look at that as a whole piece of steps, all packaged together, it can get super confusing to remember what is next, because you're just remembering a whole list of exercises. It's 2 tendus, then it's a hold, then it's a rise up and down, then it's this, then it's that, then it's that, rather than what we should do is chop it up in sections. Ballet exercises are very regimented, really. Like most of them, especially Vaganova technique, they're very symmetrical as well. They're not often too crazy. Ballet exercises have very obvious sections. En dehors, en dedans, and a coda. Break those up. Remember en dehors as one whole section of steps. En dedans is another section of steps. To make that easier for you to imagine and visualize, I want you to remember the combination like a deck of cards that's in stacks. Stack 1 is en dehors, stack 2 is en dedans, and stack 3 is coda. Take it one stack at a time. Put the en dehors phrase into a stack of its own. So for example, the en dehors, let's say that's 16 counts. Put that in a stack of its own. You remember 16 counts as one. This brings me to my next point of using rhythm and music to help you. Having a clear journey of counts will help you string that stack together. As the teacher is singing the counts,
and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4.
String all these counts together and then put that aside in one stack. So the 16 counts is 1. Just like a variation, break it into sections. There's usually a diagonal, another middle section, and a final section. Learn it section by section, stack by stack, not step by step. Identify how long the section is. Is it 8 counts or 16 counts? Rather than remembering step after step, which just is a long list, remember the whole stack together and the length of the phrase, creating one whole block you have learned at a time. You're making it essentially one step of 8 or 16 counts, one stack rather than individual cards to learn. Visualization. Visualize it in little packages, little boxes. En dehors, en dedans, coda. What is it we're actually doing here? So what is that stack? What are these stacks? What's actually happening? How is that helping us? Remember, we are using a mnemonic strategy to memorize. There are a few major strategies here, but what we are doing is the mnemonic strategy of chunking. Chunking is where you learn phrases, phone numbers, or chunks of information rather than individual things. Like we were learning the 3 stacks of cards for the 3 sections of the exercise. Think of it like a phone number. For example, learning the phone number in 12 digits is hard. But if you group it in chunks of 4 numbers, you're more likely to remember the entire phone number, right? It's hard to remember 12 numbers straight, but it's easy to remember 4. We're doing the same with your exercise or choreography or variation. We can then learn with music at the same time. As you chunk together, pay attention to the rhythm of your teacher, marking clear, definitive accents and points of phrase. There are some incredible card players out there who can memorize an entire deck of cards after looking at it for just 2 minutes because they use the amazing technique of mnemonics, which are strategies, as I've just said, to improve memory. This strategy is also often taught in schools for students to learn and recall information, like learning all the planets or learning the periodic table. Now, this is one of the most commonly used version of mnemonics, which is the method of loci. Now, loci is arguably the earliest identified mnemonic in history. It's also one of the most researched mnemonics, demonstrating strong success across a wide spectrum of academic subjects and life situations. Now, how does it work? The learner visualizes a room or a familiar path through a building. The learner mentally associates facts or information with specific locations or objects along the way. In order to recall what they learned, they revisualize moving through that room or along that path, and each stop along the way triggers another piece of information. This method is also called the journey method, creating a memory palace, or the mental walk strategy. Research ranging from medical students learning about diabetes to college students remembering grocery lists shows significant improvement when the method of loci is used. To put it into context, you could actually do this for ballet. For example, let's say you imagined a walk you know super well. Maybe it's the walk from your home to the ballet school or from the dormitory to the ballet studio. And you kind of remember at the entrance of the dorm 4 tendus. Then you continue walking, you see the Vaganova statue in the courtyard at Vaganova, and then you go 3 jetés. That's 3 jetés there. Then you keep walking, you know, so then you associate little bits there. And you can do that with most things. For me, I think in terms of exercises, the most effective is the chunking method. Chunking phrases into blocks, you know, and the stack of cards is a really good imagery that I find super, super helpful. Otherwise, it's just a long list. Just like when people, like, you know, remembering the grocery list thing. The grocery list thing is very useful when you're doing the memory palace. The entrance of the dormitory, I see the desk, so I think, okay, I'm gonna get dog food. And then you keep walking. As you learn the exercises and you associate and you find your way of learning, you'll also learn how your teacher works. You'll learn patterns of how your teacher uses phrases and her exercises or his exercises, making this process easier and easier. But this way of learning can be really useful when you're first starting out with a new teacher as well, specifically because, you know, when I first went to a different school or a different company, it's a different teacher. People work very, very differently. And so you may find that this becomes extremely useful for you. And just like anything, this will require practice too before it's automatic for you to put stuff in little stacks. So next time you're in class, try these methods, especially the method of chunking. Try these stacks and see how that feels for you. See how you can start to memorize things differently. Slowly but surely, this will become automatic, and then you'll find you are easily picking up exercises quickly. Just like the people who memorize an entire stack of cards super easily. You know, they do that through the memory palace, through walking through and associating ace of spades with, as they're walking past some kind of post box, whatever, and they put stuff there on each step of the journey. You'll be able to do this like that. They do that in 2 minutes, and you'll be able to do that really, really, really quickly. But I think just looking at the exercise as a whole stack of cards or a whole list of numbers is never going to get you organized in your head and organized in how you're memorizing things. Looking at the combination and just seeing it as a long list of steps, it's not going to get you anywhere. So try this. Comment below if you have a specific method to memorizing. And some people obviously do this very automatically, so they don't have this issue, but a lot of people struggle with this. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, because this for me is always really fascinating, because I have definitely had students who have like massively struggled, because ballet is really complicated. And so I found students have massively struggled learning the combination and thinking about their corrections at the same time. So being able to think about your corrections, think about everything you need to work on, and remember the combination. And I'm talking like, even if it's a really simple combination, they've struggled with this. And so that's really something that I've been massively interested in trying to help people with. So definitely comment down below if you've struggled with picking up exercises, and if there was anything in particular, you know, maybe the chunking method, which really helped you. I would honestly love to know. It's fascinating to me. So thank you so much for watching. I hope this was helpful for you. And just like anything in ease practice, please like the video and subscribe. I'd really, really appreciate it. And have a wonderful day. And I will see you very, very soon. Bye for now.